Hello and welcome back to our Lord of the Rings LCG solo progression series, and today's quest is the nightmare version of Conflict at the Carrock, which was the second adventure pack in the Shadows of Mirkwood cycle. A quick reminder, in this series we're playing through each quest in chronological order of the game's initial release, and we'll only be using player cards that were available at the time of this quest's release. I'm calling this deck Conflict Escalation. Nobody's going to remember this, but my deck name for the original Conflict of the Carrock quest was Conflict Resolution. And so the Nightmare version is definitely upping the difficulty. And so we're going to go with Conflict Escalation as our deck name. And truly, this is much harder than the original quest. In the original quest, we could turtle and we set up our board state before advancing on to stage 2. But in this Nightmare version, we are going to be forced to advance sooner than we would like. And so card draw is going to be crucial, and we'll have to be ready actually to advance to stage 2 in round 7. And so let's get to the quest and see how we do. Opening hand is not good. I want to see more card draw, so let's mulligan. And okay, we got Steward of Gondor round 1. That's good. A lot of tactic cards that we don't particularly need, but Steward of Gondor round 1 is really good. All right, so here's the setup card for the Nightmare version of Conflict at the Carrock. We have to remove the following cards in the following quantities. Of note, we have to remove the objective ally Grimbeorn the Old from the quest, as well as the 4 original trolls. They'll be replaced with Nightmare versions. And there's quite a bit of changes to this Nightmare quest here. First of all, some text change on stage 1A, also stage 2B. There's a force effect at the end of the quest phase, and there's a response after defeating a unique troll enemy. We'll get to all those in turn. Here's Grimbeorn's quest. While searching for Gollum in the Anduin Valley, you receive word that a group of trolls have come to the Carrock. For setup, add the Carrock to the staging area. Here it is. It's unique, 2 threats, 6 quest points, immune to player card effects. Players cannot travel to the Carrock except through quest card effects, and while the Carrock is the active location, troll enemies will get a boost. And then it tells us to remove 4 unique troll cards, but right here this is a change. The first one, stage 1A, should say remove 5 unique troll cards instead of 4. So here are the 5 cards: Rob and Bob, Lewis, Morris, Rupert, and Stewart. But then otherwise the card continues to read as normal. We remove 4 copies of sack from the encounter deck and set them aside out of play. Then shuffle 1 sacked card per player back into the encounter deck. So there are actually 5 sacked cards in the deck. 1 is already here, left in the encounter deck. We take 4 out of play, out of the encounter deck, and we shuffle 1 back in per player, meaning there will be 2 sacked cards in the encounter deck. And let's just move these other 3 to the victory display. Just a quick keystroke to get them out of the way. All right, stage 1B, 7 progress needed. As this area is under the watch of the Beornings, you seek out their leader Grimbeorn the Old and discover he has already set out in a rage. You follow, hoping to find him before he confronts the trolls. And there's a force effect after placing the 7th progress token on Grimbeorn's quest. The Carrock becomes the active location. Discard the previous active location from play. That's whenever we actually will travel to the Carrock is upon completing this quest. Now what's interesting about this Nightmare version, and probably the most difficult piece of it, is this forced effect. At the end of the quest phase, if no progress was placed on the current quest, this phase, place 1 progress on the current quest. So each round, if I don't quest successfully, well, I can quest successfully. It's not really about questing successfully, but if I put a progress on Grimbeorn's quest, or even 2 or 3, nothing happens. But if I neglect to make progress such that I put a progress point on the current quest, then at the end of the quest phase, 1 will be placed on here for us. And so we can quest successfully, and we can even make progress, but we don't want to make more than 1, meaning that due to potentially doing that, questing successfully, but also this forced effect, during round 7, we will be advancing to stage 2. So we have got to get busy drawing cards. Okay, here's the resource phase. We'll exhaust Bearvor to draw 2 cards. Really a good opening hand. Okay, so we'll play a Good Harvest. Action, name a sphere. Until the end of the phase, you can... Before we do that, actually, let's go ahead and spend a resource from Aragorn's pool to play Mithrander's Advice. Action, draw one card for each hero you control with a printed lore resource icon. We drew 3 cards. Pretty great. And now we'll play a Good Harvest. Action, name a sphere. Until the end of the phase, you can spend resources of any sphere when paying for cards that belong to the named sphere. So we will put out Steward of Gondor because we named leadership. We'll attach it to Denethor and exhaust it to get resources back. Let's use Denethor's action. Exhaust Denethor to look at the top card of the encounter deck. You may move that card to the bottom of the encounter deck. Roasted Slowly is fine. And we'll put out Hinnemarth. And we'll stop there with planning. All right, we are going to quest just with Aragorn. We do not want to quest successfully. We can make a single point of progress, but we don't. Either way, it doesn't matter. You can make it such that you can do this or don't put any progress. That is the plan. All right, so we reveal Roasted Slowly. When revealed, destroy all heroes with the card sacked attached. Then shuffle Roasted Slowly back into the encounter deck. All can be 0. Nobody has sacked attached, so this just whiffs, and it's shuffled back into the encounter deck. Really, the biggest problem with that card is just the fact that it shuffles the deck when you have used Denethor's action to bury everything you don't like. So getting that in round 1 is not so bad. So we did not quest successfully, and we don't want to. And obviously, it's nice that our threat didn't go up. At the end of the quest phase, though, there is this forced effect. If no progress was placed on the current quest this phase, place 1 progress on the current quest. And so we're forced to put that progress on Grimbeorn's quest. And you can see how each round, that's the plan. We want to keep our threat relatively low. But in round 7, we will advance. Let's use Hinnemar's action to look at what's coming next. Roasted Slowly again. Wow, 2 free rounds. All right, we're in the resource planning phase. Let's pay for Peace and Thought. Refresh action. Exhaust 2 heroes to draw 5 cards. We'll exhaust Denethor and Aragorn to draw 5 cards. There we go. The odds of getting Roasted Slowly in 2 rounds in a row is crazy. All right, so next round. And we'll exhaust Bearvor to draw 2 cards. And we will exhaust Steward of Gondor. Let's go ahead and spend a resource from Aragorn's pool to attach Song of Travel to Denethor. So now he has a spirit resource icon, and we can play Unexpected Courage and Ready Denethor. And we're not going to quest with anybody here. We're just going to reveal Roasted Slowly. When revealed, destroy all heroes with the card sacked attached. Then shuffle Roasted Slowly back into the encounter deck. Our threat goes up by 2. And at the end of the quest phase, this forced effect forces us to place a progress on the current quest. So we're at 2. Let's use Denethor's action to look at the top card, Massing at Night. I don't know if I'll have a Test of Will in hand yet. So let's just move that to the bottom of the deck. And now we'll use Hinnemar's action to look. It's going to be Savage Hill Troll. Refresh. And during the refresh action window, let's spend a resource from Bearvor's resource pool to play Peace and Thought. Refresh action, exhaust 2 heroes to draw 5 cards. Denethor and Aragorn drawing 5 cards. All right. On to the next round. Steward of Gondor. Let's ready Denethor. Let's exhaust Bearvor to draw 2 cards. And we'll use Denethor's action to move Savage Hill Troll to the bottom of the encounter deck. And we'll use Hinnemarth to look at what's coming. It's River Langford. We'll go ahead and play Gleowine and exhaust Gleowine to draw a card. And we will not commit anybody to the quest. We reveal River Langford while it is in the staging area. River Langford gets +1 threat for each troll enemy in play. We were unsuccessful in the quest. Threat goes up by 4. We'll travel to River Langford. Actually, we can't. Sorry. At the end of the quest phase, we have this forced effect. If no progress was placed on the current quest this phase, place 1 progress on the current quest. So in round 3, we have done what we expected. 3 progress on Grimbeorn's quest. Now, during the travel phase, we'll travel to River Langford, and we'll refresh. And we have 1 more piece in thought. Let's just go ahead and play it. Exhaust Denethor and Aragorn to draw 5 cards. We're in the refresh action window. Let's just play Daron's Runes to draw 2 cards and discard Steward of Gondor. We'll play Daron's Runes to draw 2 cards and discard Steward of Gondor. Next round. Steward of Gondor. Gleowine draws us a card. Beorvor draws us 2. And we'll ready Denethor and look. Use his action, look at the top card. It's Savage Hill Troll. Let's bury Savage Hill Troll. We'll spend 2 resources from Denethor's pool to attach Unexpected Courage to Denethor. We'll exhaust that to ready Denethor and do his action again. Sacked. I don't really mind this. I could use the next round. I could just discard it with Miner of the Iron Hills. So let me remind myself what this actually does. When revealed, attached to a hero with no sacked card attached. Cannot be canceled, so you can't cancel this with Test of Will. Counts as a conditioned attachment with the text. Attached hero cannot attack, defend, commit to a quest, trigger its effect, or collect resources. I will move that to the bottom of the deck. And then we're going to spend 2 resources to play Unexpected Courage. And ready Denethor and do his action again. Hives and Hives is fine. Let's go ahead and get out some willpower here. Let's put out Aether Swordsman. Each Outlands character you control gets +1 willpower. And then we'll put out 2 Amphalos Herdsmen. And so they're boosted by Aether Swordsman. And then each Outlands character you control gets +1 hit point. So we've got +2 across the board on our Outlands characters. Let's quest with our Outlands characters. Can't hit the right buttons here. And we reveal Hives and Hives. It has a force effect. After any amount of progress is placed on Hives and Hives, deal 1 damage to each character in play. So we won't ever travel here. Our threat goes up by 1. And at the end of the quest phase, we have to place a progress on Grimbeorn's quest. Let's use Hinnemarth's action. Roasted slowly again. Wow. Refresh. No more peace and thoughts. Steward of Gondor. Gleowine draws a card. Beorvor draws 2. Man, we've almost run our entire hand in 5 rounds. I think we can do it. Let's attach for free here Blood of Numenor to Denethor. This can be attached to a Gondor or Dunedain hero. We can pay for this because of Song of Travel, and this will just come into play later. We can Let's use Denethor's action just to bury this. I don't want to keep shuffling the encounter deck. We'll ready Denethor and use his action again. Gladden Fields is fine. Just locations in general are fine. We will play Daron's Runes to draw 2 cards. And we'll discard one of these Song of Travels. And again, I could just go ahead and draw my entire hand in round 5, but I'm not going to worry about paying for a Mithrander's Advice at this point. I think I overdid it with the Peace and Thoughts. I didn't quite need all that card draw, but sometimes you do. All right, so we'll go ahead and play a Good Harvest. Name a sphere. Until the end of the phase, you can spend resources of any sphere when paying for cards that belong to the named sphere. We're going to say Leadership and spend 3 resources to attach Sword That Was Broken to Aragorn. This gives him a leadership resource icon, and if attached to Aragorn, each character you control gets +1 willpower. Let's put out another Ether Swordsman. So now, between the Ether Swordsman boosts and Sword That Was Broken, you know, they're questing for quite a lot now, the Outlands characters. Six minus 3 is going to be 3. That's fine. We reveal Gladden Fields. We made 3 progress and cleared River Langford. At the end of the quest phase, the force effect forces us to place a progress on Grimbeorn's quest. All right, during travel, we don't want to travel to Hives and Hives. We can't travel to the Carrock. Let's travel to Gladden Fields. We'll ready Denethor and use his action, and we'll move Muck Adder to the bottom of the encounter deck. We'll do his action again. Troll Lair is fine. Refresh. And at the beginning of the refresh phase, because of Gladden Fields being the active location, each player must raise his threat by an additional point during the refresh phase. So we're at 43. Next round. We'll draw our last card with Glaewine. There we go. All cards drawn. Okay, Steward of Gondor. And now we just want to get these allies out. Let's go ahead and put out Amphalos Herdsman. And we'll need to get out our 3rd Ether Swordsman. And we're going to be adding 2 threat to staging. So that's going to be -7. We need to make, let me see here. 10 minus 2 is going to be 8. That's way too much. 10 minus 2 is 5. Or 5 minus 2 is, I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself here. We reveal Troll Lair, and we made 3 progress and cleared Gladden Fields. That goes to the victory display. At the end of the quest phase, we place a point of progress on Grimbeorn's quest. And during the travel phase, we will travel to Troll Lair. We'll definitely want to, because Troll Lair, while it's in the staging area, players cannot reduce their threat. That would include Aragorn's refresh action, which we're about to take in a minute. Let's use Denethor's action to look at the top card. Don't want Troll Lair in play. Time for supper. That's good. Refresh. And during the refresh action window, we're going to take Aragorn's refresh action. You need to do this from round 6 because we need to get our threat down underneath the engagement costs of these trolls, which are about to engage us next round. Refresh action, reduce your threat to your starting threat level. And so we're going to go all the way down to 30, and that can be done just once a game during the refresh action window. Next round, and this is the round we move on, because even if we don't progress past Grimbeorn's quest, confident that the Carrock's forced effect here is going to place a progress on Grim Bayron's quest. Okay, so no more card draw. Let's use Berevor's action or resource to put a Song of Battle onto Aragorn. And then we'll go ahead and actually, let me not do that. Let's go back. We'll use Berevor's resource to put a Song of Battle onto Denethor. So he has Tactics and Spirit. Now we're going to go ahead and play a good Harvest and name a sphere. Until the end of the phase, you can spend resources of any sphere when paying for cards that belong to the named sphere. Let's just say Tactics and go 1, 2, 3. We'll put out all 3 Knights of the Swan. All of our Outlands characters get +3 attack. Okay. And so we know what's coming. We're going to cancel this with Test of Will. We just need to keep from having our threat go up. That's good right there. And we will reveal Time for Supper. This card makes me laugh. When revealed, the first player chooses a hero in any player's discard pile and removes that hero from the game. So sometimes in this quest, because of sacked, you might have a hero discarded or destroyed by a troll, and so it's in your discard pile. It would remove that card, that hero from the game. It has to be in your discard pile for that to work. But then heal all damage from each troll enemy in play. So it's like they just ate the hero. If no damage is removed from any troll enemy as a result of this effect, Time for Supper gains Surge. Let's just cancel that with Test of Will. And we made no progress. And at the end of the quest phase, we will place, because of the force effect, at the end of the quest phase, if no progress was placed on the current quest this phase, place 1 progress on the current quest. So we just put our 7th progress on Grim Bayron's quest. Like I said at the beginning, round 7, you're always going to advance. After placing the 7th progress token on Grim Bayron's quest, the Carrock becomes the active location. Discard the previous active location from play. So kind of a nice trick. We don't necessarily have to commit everybody. So that's discarded, a troll layer. And now the Carrock is made the active location. While this is the active location, troll enemies will get this boost of a +1 attack and +1 defense. And now against the trolls, says you approach the Carrock and find that the trolls have been watching you from the top of the rocky river landmark. As you approach, the trolls close in and attack. And so here's a change to stage 2B. Should read, when revealed, place Lewis, Morris, Rupert, and Stewart into the staging area. So here's Lewis, Rupert, Morris, and Stewart added to the staging area. And they all have 34 engagement, each one of them. And they, because of the Carrock, have +1 attack and defense across the board. Our threat's at 30. We used Aragorn to ensure that. And it says players cannot defeat the stage if there are any troll enemies in play, so we'll have to take care of them. During the travel phase, we can't travel anywhere. And this is where we start to pick the trolls apart. We're set up for it. So the first thing we're going to do is optionally engage during the encounter phase. We're going to optionally engage, and we would have to optionally engage an enemy. Our threat's lower than the engagement cost. We're going to optionally engage Lewis. He has a force effect. After Lewis attacks, the defending player must raise his threat by 3. He's going to get a shadow card, and we're going to play Feint. We have a Song of Battle, so we can play Feint and cancel Lewis's attack. And that keeps us from raising our threat because he did not attack us. Now we're going to attack back, but I don't want to destroy Lewis yet, because if I do, he goes to the victory display, and then future trolls will gain the following effect. Force. After this enemy attacks, the defending player must raise his threat by 1. So I'm going to attack him, but not destroy him. His combined health and defense is 12 printed on the card, but plus this extra boost. So we've got a combined health and defense of 13. So I need to attack for 12, which I can do right here with these 3 Aether Swordsmen. So they're all attacking for 4 apiece. 4 times 3 is 12. Minus 3 is 9. So we did not destroy him. That was the plan. Let's use Denethor's action to just move things to the bottom of the encounter deck that we don't want to see. We don't like Troll Lair. That's good. We'll just cancel that one again. And we'll refresh. Oh yeah, this shadow card was discarded at the end of combat. Nothing happens at the end of the round. Next round. Steward of Gondor. Let's go ahead and attach Forest Snare to Lewis. And so now he can't attack us this phase. And we'll quest, and we'll make sure we clear the Carrock. So let's quest maybe like this. That's enough. That's all we need. In fact, we might could do better. Now we'll do what we were doing there. And we reveal Time for Supper, which we will cancel with Test of Will just so that it doesn't surge. So that's canceled. And we made 6 progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That leaves play. It does not go to the victory display, but the boost goes away on all troll enemies in play. And I forgot to mention these different ones. This is a static effect. Rupert cannot be reduced. His defense cannot be reduced. Morris is immune to player card effects. And Stewart cannot have player attachments. But all of these enemies they affect trolls once added to the victory display. Okay, at the end of the quest phase, we did not quest successfully, or we did not place a point of progress on the current quest, and so we do place one on against the trolls. So we've advanced in that sense, but we still have to destroy all the troll enemies in play. During the travel phase, I don't want to travel here. During the encounter phase, I want to optionally engage Rupert. And shadow cards are dealt, and we're going to play Feint and cancel Rupert's attack. And now we want to attack and destroy Rupert, which we can do easily. He goes to the victory display. While Rupert is in the victory display, the defense of each hill troll enemy cannot be reduced, which we're not going to do. There's no effects that do that, so him being in the victory display doesn't affect us. Okay, there's a sack being discarded. We'll use Denethor's action. That's good. We'll just cancel that with Test of Will. All right, and so shadow cards are discarded, and we still don't want to destroy Lewis quite yet. Refresh, and just making sure no end of the round effect. Next round. Okay. We know what's coming. We just want to keep from having our threat go up. Now, whenever we engage Morris, he's going to be next. He's immune to player card events, so I can't feint him. I'm either going to need to chump, or I need to defend with Denethor, which I think I can keep from chumping here. He's going to attack for 5. We need to do this anyway. Let's put out our single copy of Burning Brand and attach it to Denethor. Okay, so at this point, we've got enough resources to boost Denethor with Blood of Numenor. He can defend for 6 plus, yeah, so we won't have to chump. All right, our threat's still underneath the engagement cost of these enemies. We're about to play Test of Will in a minute. Let's just quest such that our threat doesn't go up. And we reveal a Frightened Beast. When revealed, each player raises his threat by the total threat of all cards in the staging area. And we don't have any creature allies or characters, actually. Any player may choose to discard from play one creature ally. Yeah, it has to be an ally. But let's just cancel that with Test of Will. And we made no progress. And at the end of the quest phase, we place a progress on Against the Trolls. During the travel phase, not traveling anywhere. During the encounter phase, engaging optionally Morris. And he is going to attack us. We're going to defend with Denethor. So 5 against 3, but we're going to use Blood of Numenor. Action, spend 1 resource from attached hero's resource pool to give attached hero +1 defense for each resource in its resource pool until the end of the phase. So he's going to spend a resource. He's getting the boost of 2. So that's 5 defense against 5 attack. And the shadow, there isn't one. If there were one, I could cancel with Burning Brand. So Denethor blocked that attack. And then we want to damage Morris, but we don't want to destroy him because... and so this is why we didn't put Lewis in the victory display, because he would attack us and our threat would go up by 1. I mean, it's a minimal advantage, but we're just trying to keep our threat low. If we attack and destroy him, then the next troll, which is Stuart, would be immune to player card effects and would get a +1 attack. So we're just going to attack and damage. So we need to attack for a total of 11. So we've got 8 here plus 3. That is 11. And so 11 minus 2 is going to be 9 damage. Let's use Denethor's action. Gladden Fields is fine. Let's discard shadow cards. Oh yeah, and we should have this round. Let's go ahead and just destroy. Let's say we destroyed Lewis. We were able to do that easily. So from moving forward, after this enemy attacks, the defending player must raise his threat by 1. That's going to happen for all trolls. So we just destroyed Lewis. We damaged Morris and destroyed Lewis. All this is sort of the playbook I've created here. Refresh. And next round. We'll exhaust Steward of Gondor. Let's put a Forest Snare out onto Morris. And it's Stewart that when he's in the victory display, trolls cannot have player attachments. So we're still okay to put a Forest Snare onto Morris. Okay, we will quest just so that we don't advance again. And we reveal Gladden Fields. And we were unsuccessful, not unsuccessful, but forced effect. At the end of the quest phase, if no progress was placed on the current quest, this phase, place 1 progress. So we're at 3. During the travel phase, I don't really want to travel here. I don't need to worry about my threat going up. So we'll just leave Gladden Fields in staging. During the encounter phase, we will optionally engage Stewart. Shadow cards are dealt, and we can feint Stewart here because we did not destroy Morris. We can actually cancel Stewart's attack because Morris is not in the victory display. So his attack was canceled, and now we just want to attack and destroy both trolls. So we just need attack for 3. So just 1 Amphalos Herdsman can destroy Morris. And whenever we do, he goes to victory display. And now we'll attack Stewart. This will be 15 is all we need. We've got it right here. 12 plus Knights of the Swan destroys Stewart. So he goes to the victory display. And it says players cannot defeat at this stage if there are any troll enemies in play. In the original quest, that was it. You just finished. You never really saw it printed anywhere that you won. So they fixed it with the Nightmare quest where there's actually a stage 3. Because you typically would want to just advance. You're like, wait, there's not another stage. Well, now there is. And this is why they took away the Grim Bayorn, the old objective ally. Just as you think the fight is over, you find tracks that lead you to what appears to be the leader of this group of trolls. You also see Grim Bayorn the Old captured and ready to be cooked. It's up to you to save him. When revealed, add Rob and Bob to the staging area. Then each player must search the encounter deck and discard pile for a non-unique troll enemy. and add it to the staging area. If able, shuffle the encounter deck. So here's Rob and Bob, and we have to search. And now it says here, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a non-unique troll enemy and add it to the staging area. If able, shuffle the encounter deck. So I want to grab Hill Troll. I could grab this one and not search with my encounter deck, but regardless, I have to shuffle my encounter deck. So let's just look through the encounter deck, because it actually literally says shuffle your encounter deck. So that's important for Denethor decks. If it says shuffle your encounter deck, well, by golly, you have to. All right, let's grab Hill Troll, I suppose, and put him in the staging area and shuffle the encounter deck. So we have Rob and Bob, we have Hill Troll. Let's talk real quick about the victory display. Let me delete these cards. So just so we know what these defeated trolls are doing to any troll enemies that are in play. While Stewart is in the victory display, each troll enemy gets +1 defense and cannot have player attachments. So here's +1 defense. Morris gives each troll enemy +1 attack, and each troll has an immunity to player card events. And then Lewis, anytime a troll attacks you, that enemy you'd have to raise your threat by 1. And then finally, Rupert makes it such that you cannot lower the defense of troll enemies. So just +1 and 1. And we were in the combat phase, when we destroyed the trolls, in player attacks is where we are right now during the action window. But now there's nobody engaged with us, so we're just going to move on straight to the refresh phase, but we're finishing this stuff up. Okay, a nice pickle they were all in now, The Hobbit. When Rob and Bob have been defeated, the players have rescued Grimbear the Old from certain death and won the game. So here's Rob and Bob. He has a forced effect where he makes after Rob and Bob makes its first attack each round, if there are 2 or more players, it engages the next player and makes an additional attack. Discard and deal a new shadow card for this attack. Now in solo that doesn't matter. There's no next player in solo, so that's just not there in solo. It's almost as if his text box is blank. Okay, so at the beginning of we'll refresh, and at the beginning of the refresh phase there is a button here, but it's for Gladden Fields, which is not our active location. So last round. Steward of Gondor, let's play Galadrim's Greeting to lower our threat by 6. And I should have used Denethor's action last round. Hopefully it won't hurt us, but Marshatter's fine. Okay, we just don't want our threat to go up so that Hill Troll can't engage us, basically, is all we care about. All right, we reveal Marsh Adder, and we made no progress. And so at the end of the quest phase, this forced effect is wanting us to place a progress on Grimbeorn's Folly, but there is no way to do that because there's no quest value. During the travel phase, we won't travel anywhere. During the encounter phase, we will optionally engage our threats at 28 because we just played Galadrim's Greeting. We will optionally engage Rob and Bob. And he's going to attack us, and he's immune to player card effects because of Stewart being in the victory display. He gives him, I think it's Stewart, immune to player card events. Yeah, so I can't play Feint. I don't have one in my hand anyway. Let's defend with Denethor. And we'll use Denethor's action to boost him for 2. So he's defending for 5 against an attack of 6. Shadow says if attacking enemy is a troll, remove 2 damage tokens from it. We'll just cancel it with Burning Brand. And so he has been blocked. And then we just need to attack for 16 to destroy him. So here's 12, 15, 18, 21, etc. So we just destroyed him. He does not go to the victory display for whatever reason. But when Rob and Bob have been defeated, the players have rescued Grimbeor the Old from certain death and won the game. And so the way that this works, I always win this in 11 rounds because I always wait until round 7 to progress. So I'm always going to use Aragorn's action in round 6. This one is going to play out the same way every time. The only thing that can be different is early on. If you had an enemy come out like Muck Adder or whatever, you do have to scramble a little bit, but you can put out a forest snare early. But that you can lose if the worst possible things happen to you. But it's been a while since I lost. I played it multiple times to test it, and so it's been a winning deck for a few plays. Well, that is it. That's the quest, and I think we saw everything. That's the entirety of the encounter deck. Everything in our hand we got to see. We drew our whole hand pretty quickly. So Denethor is the star. Just using his unexpected courage, and just getting the attack out in the form of these Outlands characters is really huge for dealing with the trolls and having that game plan. If you happen to ever use this deck, just look here at the bottom. I've done the stage 2 breakdown of what I just did. Round 1, I do this. Once you move on to stage 2, engage Lewis, etc. Do these things in this order, and you'll be fine. But there has to be that specific order for it to work. So much harder than the original quest, but there's a win. Pretty cool. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye.